Hey, yeah, in my last video I showed you how to decode one of these Lockwood ASSA ABLOY dial combination padlocks, and in the video before I showed you how to shim one open using a shim. It has to be a proper spring steel shim, not like one of those cheap ones you can buy online, and definitely cutting one out of a soda can won't work. So we need a proper spring steel one, a tough one, to get into one of these locks. And see my video on the one before the last one to see how I shimmed it open. But this video is about something different. One of the viewers asked, is it possible after shimming it open to look down this hole to see what's going on and see if we can decode it? And I've got a little probe torch that I can put it down and shine on the insides, and we might be able to see what's going on. The other thing I want to say is if this shackle is raised too much, there'll be a point where you can't turn the dial properly. So I'm just putting it down all the way and leaving it out the way so the dial can turn. You also might be wondering, since this locking bar is spring loaded, why I don't pull it back out of the way so I can get more access, so I can see what's going down there. But if I pull it all the way, then it will get stuck. The dial will get stuck. So if I pull this all the way back, then the dial, it tends to get stuck into gates and it does want to come out. Okay, you might be able to see three wheels. This wheel here to the left is corresponding to the first number of our correct combination. This wheel here is for the second combination, and this is for the third wheel. This third wheel is for the third correct combination. So I'm going to call these 1, 2, and 3, which correspond to our first, second, and third correct combination. The third one is directly connected to the dial. When I turn it, you can see this turning, and the other two may or may not turn depending on if they're engaged. You can see here that when I change direction, the second wheel turns a little bit but then stops because it's not engaged, not like this one. And if I keep turning this one, you might be able to see some stuff. Let's have a look. I kept turning to the left, and this is a good point. I'll just go the other way. Now I'm going to turn to the left. The third wheel only is moving. If I keep turning, then it will engage the second wheel. There, the second wheel is engaged. Second wheel is starting to move. Keep turning to the, did I say turning to the left? It's turning to the right. Just keep turning, and the second wheel will pick up the third wheel and engage the third wheel. And there, now all three wheels are moving. Okay, and it does this because each wheel has a tooth. And I don't know if I can show you that. Okay, there's one of the teeth there. And when the third wheel's tooth comes up and hits the second wheel like this, then it pushes them both. Or if I go the other way, there, the second wheel tooth is being pushed by the third wheel tooth. Boom, boom. And that's how the wheels engage. When it goes the other way, the tooth isn't touching. It has to go all the way around before it hits it. You can also see how there's little indentations on this third wheel, but they're like false gates. But the true gate, or the true gap that we want, if I keep turning it, see, that's a really deep one. Now when those three are in line, that means the locking bar can go into that and open the lock. Our aim is to get all three of those aligned and aligned in the right place. Okay, when we are opening the lock as normal, we turn it several turns to the right. If I turn it several turns to the right, second wheel's engaged, and we need to adjust this to see the third wheel. Okay, third wheel is now engaged, and look, there's the deep gap. going to make the edge of the deep gap in line with the locking bar. Now one full turn to the left and until the second wheel is engaged. It's engaged, and I keep turning until we see the deep gap for the second wheel. So we've got our first wheel kind of lined up and our second wheel, and then we line up our third wheel. What I forgot to do was read off the numbers. We have to read off the numbers, so several turns to the right, and I'm going to keep turning to the right. That's why you have to turn several turns to the right, so that all three wheels are engaged, so that we can place the third wheel where we want it. Okay, so the third wheel, and I read off the number, and it is about 12. Going to write that down. Okay, now for the second wheel, full turn to the left until it's engaged, and turn until they line up. It's difficult to see. Okay, so I think those two are lined up. And what's the number on that? That's about 18. Sorry, that's not 18. 23. And then I have to shift it to look at the third wheel, get the third wheel lined up, and we turn it to the right till the third wheel is lined up. Okay, there, that looks like the third wheel there. Okay, maybe that's about 3. Okay, what we've done is we've written down the numbers of the gates when they're all lined up, but there's an offset because they didn't line up in the right place. So we have to add or subtract to the numbers. And this is like a little bit of magic here. I'm going to hold the shackle just above where it goes in, where it closes, just above there. And I'm going to keep turning left, and you keep turning left. You might have to turn more than one full turn to the left. Keep turning until it starts to bring the shackle down. There, it started to engage the shackle. And the top of that cutout, this is where the locking bar goes in. When I say the top, I mean the bottom of this cutout, right here, when that lines up with the top of the hole, because it's been, every time I turn to the right, it gets dragged down. It's lined up when it's 0. So guess what? 0 is our first number. 0 is the first number of the correct combination. So what we could have done, instead of pecking down the hole, is we could have got our first number of the correct combination. And then in my last video, I showed you how to get the third number of the correct combination. And the third number is easiest to find, and we're most sure about that it's correct. So we get the first number with the shim, third number using the method I showed you before in the last video, and then it's easy to test all the second numbers to open the lock. So that would be a quick way of doing it, but that's not what this video is about. These are the numbers that I was writing down. Now, this is where they lined up, where the gates lined up, but we know that the first correct number is 0. So that means there's an offset of 12. I have to minus 12 to get 0. And if I do the same thing here, minus 12, I get 11. And if I minus 12 here, I get, good point, is that 31? Because 31 plus 12 is, yep. Okay, so now that 01131, let's try it. So let's make sure that it's closed and it's locked. We turn several times to the right. We stop on 0. 1 full turn to the left. Stop on 11. And then right to 31. And it opens. So we can decode it looking on the inside, but you know, I didn't find it that easy, and you need probably a special tool like this to pare it down, as well as a special shimming tool. But if you've got those tools, you might find this an easier method. But anyway, I'm just showing you that it is possible to do it like that. Cheers.